presentation. And thank you, Rusty, too. Sorry.
I invite you to pray according to your faith as I pray according to mine. Let us pray. Almighty and eternal God, we know that in the midst of strife, you are with us. When we grieve, when we rejoice, when we are troubled, when we have lost our direction, you are with us. Thank you. Thank you for never doubting us when we doubt you. Thank you for your patience with us when we lose patience with others. Thank you for the food we have to eat, and help us remember those who are hungry. Thank you for the ability to gather, and help us remember those who are shut in. Thank you for different ideas and opinions, and help us remember those who are not allowed to speak freely. And thank you for Rotary, for its mission of healing, hope, and care for our fellow man and service above self. We also thank you for Louisa's leadership this past year, and ask your blessing on Mason as he begins his term. We now ask that you bless this food, the hands that prepared it and those that receive it. Bless this meeting and bless each of us. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Audrey. And now, Keisha Connor, do our fellowship.
Good afternoon, everybody. Before we introduce our guests and visiting Rotarians, could you please give me a bright smile so I can take a good picture?
Now get one with everybody having a mask on.
Now, if you have any visiting Rotarians and guests, please.
I'll introduce you all when I get over later.
I'm Bill Campbell, Louisa's husband.
I feel like a guest.
Thank you, Keishore. And yes, that is my husband, Bill Campbell, long-suffering husband. Nice to have him here. Okay, and once again, Audrey Brown with Health and Happiness.
Okay, just a few things for health and happiness. The first day of summer was Saturday. South Carolina got the message because the high today is supposed to be 93. The high today over the weekend is 97. Woo-hoo heat. On some positive notes, Wayne Cannon had 2 celebrations last week. One, his youngest grandson, Kyle, got married this past Saturday. And he and his wife, Ann, celebrated their 58th wedding anniversary. Where's Wayne? Yeah, right there. Today's message from the CART committee. Today is our last chance to reach our $6,000 goal. Y'all, we only need $295 to make our goal. I think we can do that. That's all we got to collect today is $295. I know y'all can do that. So, I have 2 short, funny, inspirational things. I don't know, they might be neither, who knows. So, the rugged outdoor woman. During her physical examination, a doctor asked a retired woman about her physical activity level. The woman said she spent 3 days a week, every week, in the outdoors. And he said, well, you know, what are you doing? She said, well, yesterday was kind of typical. I I took about a 5-hour walk for about 7 miles through some pretty rough terrain, waded along the edge of a lake, pushed my way through 2 miles of brambles. I got sand in my shoes and in my eyes. I barely avoided stepping on a snake. I climbed several rocky hills, like the bathroom behind some trees. I ran away from an irate mother bear and then ran away from one angry bull elk. The mental stress of it all left me shattered. At the end of that, I drank a scotch and 3 glasses of wine. Amazed by the story, the doctor said, "Well, you must be one heck of an outdoor woman." And she said, "No, I'm just a really crappy golfer." Some of you can relate to that story more than others. Me. Okay. Last inspirational thing called the mayonnaise jar. A professor stood before his philosophy class. He had some items spread out in front of him. When the class began, wordlessly, he picked up a really large empty mayonnaise jar and he filled it with golf balls. And he asked the students if the jar was full, and the students said, "Yes, the jar is full." Then the professor picked up a box of pebbles and he poured that into the jar and he shook it and the pebbles filled in some of the holes. And he asked the students again, "Is the jar full?" And the students said, "Yes, the jar is full." Then the professor picked up a box of sand and he poured the sand in the jar. And of course the sand filled up everything else, and he finally asked again to his class, "Is the jar full?" And the students said, "Yes." The professor then produced 2 cups of coffee, poured them into the jar, and the students kind of laughed at that. And the professor said, "Now, I want you to recognize that this jar represents your life. The golf balls are the important things. God, family, children, friends, your health, your favorite passions, things that if everything was lost and only those remained, your life would be full. The pebbles are the other things that matter, like your job, your house, your car, and the sand is everything else, the small stuff. If you put the sand in the jar first, there's no room for the pebbles or the golf balls. And the same goes for life. If you spend all of your time and energy on the small stuff, you'll never have room for the things that are really important to you. So, pay attention to the things that are critical for your happiness. Worship with your family. Play with your children. Take your partner out to dinner. Spend time with your friends. There will always be time to clean the house and fix a leaky faucet. Take care of the golf balls first, the things that really matter. Set your priorities. The rest is just sand. Well, one of the students in the back raised her hand and she said, "Well, what's the deal with the coffee?" And he said, "I'm glad you asked. Just goes to show that no matter how full your life may seem, there's always room for a couple of cups of coffee with a friend." Have a great Rotary week.
That's great, Audrey. Thank you. Thank you so much. And now, Rusty Bass has an announcement about some memorabilia that he brought along to sell.
Thank you, Audrey. I have been trying to convince Susan for the last 3 months that cleaning out the house really shouldn't be the priority, but she made it the priority. And so I have brought today, to keep my wife from throwing it all away, several copies. You may have seen some of this stuff out on the table next to the check-in. Magazines from when John F. Kennedy was assassinated, talking about that, talking about the new president, the Shaw Observer, the Washington Post. I think there are several days in a row of the Shaw Observer and the Washington Post, the state newspaper. If any of you would like to have any of those things, I'm just arbitrarily setting a value of $10 for each one of them, and the money goes to the Rotary Foundation. or maybe it should go to cards. But anyway, it'll go to one or the other. Thank you.
Thank you, Rusty. That's a wonderful offer. Appreciate it. And now I only have one announcement, and that was to tell you all that we had a fabulous fireside chat last week. We've been welcoming just a few of our new members, but I think they felt welcomed. Thank you to our gracious host and hostess. I don't know if Andrew is here, Clarkson and his wife Caroline, but they had it socially distanced perfectly in their backyard. It was just a beautiful setting, and the weather was fantastic. So I would like to thank them, and also our past presidents, Hal Stevenson, Rusty DePass, and Andrew Clarkson, for handling the fireside chat so well. It was just perfect. So, and now, have I said, oh, happy day? I will say it again. But I really can hardly believe it's been a year since I accepted this gavel. And I will say, what a year it's been. But through it all, this club is just fantastic. And I'll tell you a little bit. It began with high hopes for us to have fun being together, and we had many plans to do good in the community and around the world. We began holding Discover Rotary programs before our regular Monday meetings in order to acquaint the community with Rotary and encourage those that were interested to come join us. As a result, we've added several terrific new members and increased our overall membership numbers just as well. So thank you to President-elect, almost President, Mason Hardy, for spearheading that effort. It has been a tremendous success. In the fall, we also held a food packing event to benefit students and families in Richland School District 1. Many members participated, and we were joined by a group from the district as well, thanks to Dr. Craig Witherspoon. It was a great time of sharing, laughing, and working together for the benefit of students and families in our community in true Rotary fashion. We also had fun and a novel membership social and wine tasting at the wonderful Hotel Trundle. Thank you, Rita Patel, if you're here, for being a gracious hostess, and thanks to Jessie Bullard of Southern Way Catering for those delicious hors d'oeuvres. We had a great time. We held a clothing drive for Cooperative Ministries to assist those in our community who just needed a little help to get back in the swing of things and to get into the working world. And also a book drive to replenish our little libraries at various points in the community. Then, in late November, we began one of our all-time favorite service projects, bell ringing at the Salvation Army. It's always fun being together, working together, and seeing firsthand the generosity of our fellow citizens, particularly at Greens, I will say. In mid-December, we held a festive and memorable Christmas social at the Governor's Mansion Complex, the Lace House. Christmas decorations, lights, delicious food, again, thank you, Jessie Bullard, and complete with a visit from our own member and South Carolina's Governor, Henry McMaster, and his First Lady, Peggy McMaster. It was a fantastic way to begin the holidays. 2020. We began the year with great anticipation and expectations of continuing to provide more opportunities for service and fellowship. In particular, to complete our plans for our upcoming fundraiser, the Bocce Bash. But then, everything stopped. Like the rest of the world, our Rotary Club meetings, events, and plans were shut down in order to protect us and to protect our community from the coronavirus pandemic. We found ourselves in uncharted territory with no known path, no known example to follow. Trying to keep everybody in touch with this club was not an easy task. At over 100 members, we were deemed too large to hold Zoom meetings. So we set up a phone bank and we tried to call every single member. Thank you to all of those members that participated. It was very worthwhile, and we talked to members that hadn't been here in years, and they were so grateful for the phone call. We also sent out weekly newsletters to keep in contact with our members. Thank you, Cynthia. Yes. We tried to stay in touch with them, to update them about health and happiness news, and also keep them abreast of other club news and developments. Our bocce bash had to be canceled, and we are still working on a rescheduled date looking at October 17th. Our Rotary Global Grant for the Clean Water Project in Peru had to be curtailed. And our plans for our family ice cream social also had to be canceled. But all was not lost. Thanks to our Rotary matching grant, we were still able to provide service by contributing $2,500 to Harvest Hope Food Bank to feed the hungry in our community during this COVID-19 shutdown. And later this spring, our Rotary Scholarship Committee, thank you, Kate, for chairing, met to interview 8 students from Richland District 1. 3 very gifted and deserving students were selected to receive scholarship awards. 2 of them you met last week. Without our $20,000 award, neither one of them would be able to go to college. The 3rd student, I think you will meet July 20th, was accepted by Georgetown University. She received a tuition scholarship from the school, but there was still a financial gap. She was so outstanding, however, that the Capital Rotary Club, who interviews with us, wanted to share in support for her. So for the first time, our clubs joined forces, each awarding her $5,000, thus providing the $10,000 that she lacked to complete financial needs. Awarding these scholarships is a huge service to this club, that this club provides to this community. By assisting our young people in their pursuit of higher education, we're not only helping them attain a better quality of life, but we are helping to change their lives for the better, and that of their families too. I know that makes me very proud, and I'm sure it does you as well. So, despite a year of uncertainty, fears, and closures, we still managed to have fun, fellowship, and provided meaningful service, all in the name of Rotary. I would like first to thank our board of directors. Some of them are here, not all, but their steadfast support and devotion to this club this year was a real backbone for me. I would ask them to please stand, and if they're here to come forward, I have a little gift of appreciation for them. And John Durst, you are included. You are our board advisor. Mason Hardy, Catherine Davis, Stephen Creech, Margaret Clarkson, Henry Clay, Doug Cochran, Adam Jordan, Beth Irick, and John Durst. Thank you all so much. And I will deliver the others later. But thank you all so much. And And although technically not board members, there's no way that we could have conducted our Rotary business meetings and plans without the constant attention and professionalism of Brad Henry, the IT expertise, foresight, and kindness of Cynthia Giles, and Della Chadwick's constant chiding of me and checking to make sure that we were going to be fiscally safe. I have a small gift for each of you. I have given one to Cynthia, and I will get the other two to Brad and Della. Thank you. Yeah. Brad?
He's not here though. Nobody say anything.
Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Unknown.
Keep on the mask.
And to all of our committee chairs this year, both club and community service chairs, you made sure that this club ran efficiently. We thank you, and we're all indebted to your devotion to this service, to the service of this club. Thank you. And often overlooked, heartfelt thanks to our 3 fantastic sergeants at arms. Those welcoming smiles that you see when you first arrive at meetings, they arrive hours ahead of time to make sure that everything is in order. Thank you, David Jameson, Tom Counts, and Bob Dickel. And I ask you, where would we be without the weekly and memorable piano playing of Rusty the Pass? And the beautiful voice of Audrey Brown. Amazing devotion to service, and truly, I could not have done it without you. Thank you. And also, I'd like to thank Cal Sewell. I've already spoken to him today, but if you have a chance, tell him thank you. Sewell's and Cal and all of the Sewell staff, they made sure that everything we needed this year was taken care of, and they went above and beyond the call of duty to accommodate our every request for social distancing and safety precautions when we reopened. They deserve your heartfelt thanks. Save the best for last. I'd like to thank each one of you, the members of this Rotary Club, for your devotion to this club and your support of me as your president this year. Your words of wisdom, your encouragement meant so much, and I'm so very grateful to you. When I accepted the gavel last year, I told you that our Rotary International President, Mark Maloney, advised us how to be a successful Rotary Club president. All we needed was to love our club and to love our members. That was so easy. I already did. I've loved you, I've loved this club since the day I joined. So that was the easy part. You, the membership, make this club what it is. You make it successful, special, and enviable to other clubs. And you have made this a wonderful year for me. Thank you. Thank you. Over to someone that I have known probably most of his life, and I can attest that he is a natural-born leader and will be a fantastic president of the club. Please welcome your new president, Mason Hardy.
say Louisa has been fantastic to work with this year. Y'all know she's been a wonderful president through all these changes. The Hardy family does have a little gift for her in appreciation of all of her efforts this year. A little flower arrangement here. Thank you to my wife, Michelle, and Vanna White for bringing that. Yeah. Grab mine. Louisa, the Rotary Club, in its tradition, always gives a commemorative plaque for her presidency for 2019 and 20 to Louisa Campbell, president of the Columbia Rotary Club. Thank you for all of your efforts. We'll do a quick one.
We see you.
I wasn't sure how much time I would have. I'm glad to know that we've got plenty of time here. Before I get into a couple introductions, there's one main job of the president-elect. Catherine Davis is taking this over next, but that's to find all the speakers for the year. It's a difficult job. You've got lots of folks who are telling you, hey, this person, that person, this person, that person, and you want to have the quality of speakers that this club has been known to get. So I really worked on that this year. I have a couple of highlights that I just want to point out, and then I'll do my introductions. We had initially Sarah Fawcett, the new CEO, president of the United Way, Craig Curry from Transitions Housing Alliance, the homeless shelter. We had the SCDOT come talk about the new crossover and that transition for the highways that will take the next 10 years of our lives. Rudy Mankey came. Remember Julian Adams II, my young friend, who's the movie star and producer, and if you all have not seen The Last Full Measure, it's now available on demand if you want to get it. It's fantastic, by the way. I know this whole table has seen it. We had Joanne Turnquist from Central Carolina Community Foundation. We had the brand new president, Bob Caslin, from the University of South Carolina. Beth DeSantis from Fact Forward, that's formerly the South Carolina Campaign to Prevent Teen Pregnancy. Matthew Martin came from the Richmond Federal Reserve office in Charlotte. That was fascinating. We had Max Metcalf from BMW. We had a city council candidate forum. That was the first time I'd seen that here. And that was interesting. We threw that together right at the very end, right before that election. We had Carl Blackstone from the Chamber of Commerce, our own Jim Morris from the South Carolina Council on Economic Education. We had Chairman of the House Ways and Means, Merle Smith from Sumter. Congressman Joe Wilson, our own Craig Witherspoon, Dr. Craig Witherspoon. He actually spoke twice because of the COVID scenario, but our superintendent from Richland won. Dr. Doug Woodward, research and economic professor at USC. Congressman Jim Clyburn, our own Thoyd Warren, and then who can forget Prakash Nagarkati, who came and talked about CBD oil and the importance that it has in the world these days. And that's when COVID hit. He was our last speaker. Our next speaker was to be Dr. Linda Bell, because COVID was right on us. And so we postponed her, rightfully so. Louisa made a great call, but then she was our next speaker as soon as COVID and we were allowed to come back to have the chief epidemiologist here. I had other folks who were coming. I had the president of Benedict College and the president of CIU and quite a few others. I'm sorry they didn't get to come. Perhaps our next president-elect will be able to get some of those speakers. She's already working on some outstanding ones. I just wanted to recap that since I had a few minutes. I'm honored and blessed to be y'all's next president. I want to thank my wife and my partner in life, Michelle Hardy, who's here with the Central Carolina Community Foundation. Not only for being here today, but for also allowing me to be the president-elect and now the president. I had a very frank discussion with her on how much time this was going to take away from my family and my business over these years, and she agreed. And I want to thank her for allowing me to do this. We have two early teenage daughters who could not be here today. They're at a tennis camp, and gladly, we're so glad they could be at a tennis camp today and out of the house. So they could not be here today. I do want to thank my dad, Archie Hardy III. He sponsored me along with Ann Walker, who's here, by the way. And thank you all for being here at the meeting today. Dad's here with his wife, Becky Kinder Hardy, and it's especially meaningful for me this Father's Day weekend to have Dad here. I haven't seen him since before COVID, and I'm glad you're here, Dad. Thank you so much. No banjo. I thought I wasn't going to have as much time, but apparently we do, but don't tell Archie. Dad was a member of the Spring Valley Rotary Club in the late 70s. And he may have become their club president, but he got a little distracted when he was elected to the South Carolina General Assembly in 1979. He served 2 terms in the House of Representatives. He joined our club in the 1980s, I'm not exactly sure when, and he resigned around 2008 to retire to Saluda, North Carolina. I'm just glad he's here today. My older brother, Chip, Archibald Hardy IV, is here. Chip was a charter member of the Vista Knights Rotary Club and the 3rd president of the Vista Knights Club. And he's been a member of the Columbia Capital Club. He's currently a member of the Camden Club. Chip Hardy. My dad's younger brother, Edmund Hayward Beaver Hardy, is here from the Columbia East Club, where he was a charter member and served as its 2nd president. Beaver's often a guest here. He's almost a member of our club. Beaver, thank you for being here. I believe I joined the Newberry Rotary Club in 2002 or 3. I don't exactly remember. Then we moved to Sumter and I joined the Sumter Rotary Club. We moved back to Columbia and I joined this club in June 2006. I know we don't have a strict attendance requirement anymore, but for some reason it's always been very important to me. I've maintained 100% attendance at all of my clubs, and I still do today. It's too easy to make up watching online, to all those people online. It might even be live, I'm not sure yet. Cynthia's working on that. She might do that next year. But I enjoy doing the makeups and even going to other clubs. But I especially like coming to see the programs that I may have missed here. Chip's and my great-grandfather, Archie and Beaver's grandfather, also first cousin of our current member, Carol Hayward, grandfather, was Edmund Rhett Hayward. He was a charter member of this club and served as our 4th president 100 years ago in 1920. Needless to say, I don't take this honor of being your president very lightly, and I hope to make all of you proud to be a member of this club a year from now. Here's a brief overview of what we're planning to do. We had great plans last year, and we really did a lot. Risa was fantastic. But in addition to the great speakers that we've been known to have, we're planning to have 2 bocce tournaments during my year as president. We have to make up for the fall, for the one we missed in the spring, October 17th, and then we'll do it again in the spring. Mainly because remember, service above self is what we do. So we're going to do 2 bocce bashes, and the proceeds of both events, just like the one we started in 2019 with past President Stephen Creech, 60% of the proceeds go to Special Olympics. They need these funds. 40% of the proceeds will go to our club's efforts, and we're going to continue in that partnership. We will assist the Salvation Army in doing the most good by ringing the bells during their Red Kettle campaign over the holidays. I too enjoy going to Greens and seeing lots of friends and family there. We'll do another food packing event for Richland One Schools. Y'all, that's a fun event. I've been to the last 2. It really is an outreach of support directly from our club to the mouths that we feed here locally. Sporadically, we'll have a few socials, as is allowed in the community. We'll do various food packing, backpack food packing drives, coat drives, and book drives like we've done in the past. And our quarterly donations of $25 each will go to the Rotary International Foundation and our club's Education Foundation, where we maintain our 2 $10,000 scholarships to very worthy local students like we learned about last week. So it is very important that all of us commit to contributing at least $100 to both foundations, the International Foundation and to our local foundation. It's just $25 a quarter. We try to spread it out and make it very attainable. Finally, maintaining and growing our membership will be key to our success. In these uncertain times, we must strive to bring in new and diverse members into our club and to not only replace those who leave, but to bring in fresh ideas and perspectives to our club in our efforts to serve the community and the world. We do plan to host another Discover Rotary meeting. They are successful. We have new members here today because they attended some of these meetings, but we're going to have one on July 6th. We are going to meet. We're not meeting next week, but we'll meet on July 6th. And prior to that meeting, we'll have a Discover Rotary meeting. So please bring a prospective member to join our club. I'm also very fortunate and blessed to have a board that you elected to help guide me through all of these efforts over the year, and here they are. Current President Louis Campbell will continue to serve as the past president. Catherine Davis with Prisma Health Foundation is our president-elect in charge of speakers. She's here today. You would stand up, Catherine. Y'all can talk to Catherine about bringing in ideas for speakers. She has some great ideas. Blake Buchanan with the Columbia Fireflies is next in line as president nominee and secretary. He's unable to be here today. Thanks, Blake. He will be working with our membership development chair, Glenn Matthews, who is here today. Glenn is with Modern Exterminating Company. He'll lead our efforts for membership. Cynthia Giles with Cutthroat Marketing will thankfully continue to be our public image chair. Y'all, she is fantastic. She really is a linchpin on this entire club, as well as Capital Consultants, as you all know. She's wonderful. Thank you so much, Cynthia. She's on the board now. And she hasn't even been a board member. She's done all this work in the past for us. Adam Jordan with HPS Investment Partners will remain as the treasurer. Margaret Clarkson with LS3P Associates will be leading our fundraising efforts for our socials and our events. We need to help her. Many hands make for light work, so please offer her assistance in the club's efforts to raise funds. Doug Cochran will also serve on the board, and Robin Gorman will lead our Rotary International Foundation efforts and keep track of all the Paul Harris Fellows as members reach various levels in the foundation giving. Past President John Durst is the president and CEO of the South Carolina Restaurant and Lodging Association. Although he's here today, he's a little busy with all this COVID-19 stuff. So we've asked past President Stephen Creech, who is here today, to serve, he's with Blue Cross and Blue Shield, to serve as advisor to the board. And we look forward to his guidance. And we still have John on the hotline in case we need to call him. So we've got a great board. Thank you all for giving those wonderful people to us, not just to me, to help lead this organization for the next year. We're excited about the year ahead. We're going to end the first meeting a little bit early, so that's hopefully that's helpful for everybody as well. But thank you all for being here today. Thank you all for being wonderful Rotarians, and thank you for the honor and the blessing of being y'all's next president. And I do want to thank and appreciate really what a tremendous leader and guide that Louisa has been this year for me coming along behind her. Thank you all very much. Leslie's going to take us out.